Guys, so now in this session we are going to understand on the next transport type called Streamable HTTP, and it is a transport type supported in MCP. It was introduced in March 25. So MCP initially used HTTP plus SAC to enable server to client streaming in remote scenarios, but it had some of the limitation, and one of the major limitation was that it had some of the limitations identified which required the server to maintain a long-lived, highly available connection. So, in this example, we are going to utilize the streamable HTTP transport type to address these issues. And now SSC servers can be upgraded to streamable HTTP, and it offers compatibility with modern infrastructure and guarantees more stable and efficient communication. And the MCP server must expose one single HTTP endpoint referred as the MCP endpoint, which we are going to look, which supports both post and get. So in this example, I would show you how to develop and enhance our to-do manager, right? And what we will learn the modern web architecture and HTTP protocols. It is fully functional on the JSON-RPC 2.0 communication standard, and let's see our implementation that we have done. So here we have the same functionality of a to-do manager, right? So we will import the JSON OS datetime. We are going to use fast API in this example because fast API is a modern framework to develop MCP server, right? So this is the instance that we are creating through fast MCP. We will need to add the course middleware because it allows the web browser, because in this example we are going to create a HTML which will support the functionalities of the server along with integrated MCP server in this cursor AI as well, right? So we are going to utilize the same to-do.json, and these are the helper functions which we have already explored for reading the to-dos and writing the to-dos, right? Now here is the important aspect. We are using the async functions, and we are decorating it with the respective protocol, whether it is get, right, and the options of the MCP endpoint. These are the pre-flight requests which we will need to put, because browsers and optional request for making actual post request before checking the actual endpoint, right? And also allowing all the control origin methods, headers, and credentials. This is the post method for this MCP endpoint to handle the MCP request, right? It will actually perform the protocol initialization and tool discovery, and it will use the JSON-RPC 2.0 for communication, right? So we will start the execution here. Methods and parameters will be fetched over here. It will check whether it is initialization process or not, and it will send all the information of this respective MCP server, right? Like which are the tools supported, the capabilities supported of this MCP server, along with prompts. And we have written the details of the tools discovery, right? When this MCP server after initialization, here is the JSON response in the JSON-RPC 2.0 standard, right? To provide the details of what the respective tools are available, right? Here in our case, list to dos, add to dos, and mark to do as done. Now the next part is the tools execution. When the tool call will be performed, right, it will identify the name and the arguments, and based on that we will actually check whether it is a add to do. And if we figure out the tool that is trying to get executed is add to do, we will add the new to do over here. Same way list to do's, and same way mark to do as done. So this is the execution part. Second part is related to the prompts call. So if you remember, we have created a smart to do manager prompt. So this respective section is related to same, where we have put the logic in Python to actually process this prompt smartly, right? And we are creating the respective task details and adding the respective to dos and reading the to dos as well, right? And when the MCP server is configured, the server startup looks like this. Here we are using the UVCon, which we have already explored. It will create the ASGI server, and we are running it on port 8000. So here you can see this is the entire implementation. Along with it, we can configure a to-do manager MCP server inside Cursor AI on the endpoint on which this streamable HTTP based MCP server is running. You can see this MCP is very important over here. It runs on port 8000 on localhost, and here we have created a simple HTML page which uses JavaScript to connect with the server. We have the functions available. These are async functions to make a request, create the payload using JSON-RPC 2.0 standard, and it will actually utilize the MCP server endpoint, the add to do, the read to do, list to dos, and the respective mark to do as are created as a function in this respective JavaScript and a simple HTML, right? And when the respective page would be loaded, it will actually list all the to dos. So this server can be executed by running some of the commands. Right here you can see I have executed python -m http server 8080, which is the inbuilt server of Python, right, which runs on 8080, which we have already executed. And before that we will need to run our Python server, which will execute the UVCon to initiate the server execution. And if you want to check the server, we can execute it on this respective URL. You can see over here that when the page is rendered, it renders all the to-dos, right? We have the respective UI for adding a new to-do as well. Make a new video on AI agents. Let's say it's a new to-do. Let's pick up a low priority, mark it as to-do as today, and here you can see a new to-do is added. You can see over here this respective to do is added over here. Same way, through this web interface you can mark the to do as done. So let's mark this to do as done. So you need to put the name of the to do, it would be marked as done, right? And so let's add one more high priority task. Add a high priority task for making arrangements for a lunch, right? So here you can see that this respective entry of adding the higher priorities is already did. I hope you understood what are the benefits of using the streamable HTTP. I will put this readme file to help you to actually run this respective commands for starting the server, and how to run the web interface which connects with this streamable HTTP server. Thank you very much. Stay tuned.